Hey, everybody. This is So Many Sequels. I'm Josh.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
Very happy for the whole team to be back
Finally.
for this episode. It's been a busy, weird summer so far. Hopefully, everybody else's summer has been good. What we're going to talk about today, though, is, it's the midpoint of the year. It's July. It's a little past the midpoint, I guess, but it's close enough. And we thought, you know what? At the end of every year, we talk about what are our favorite movies of the year, and we will do that. But it might be nice to have like a little mid-year check-in and see what has come out so far that are some of our favorites. What are some things that have surprised us, whether good or bad, and just kind of have a little check-in mid-year of 2022. Sound good?
Sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
So, I don't even know where to begin with this one. Let's start with
I was going to say, what do we start with, like, the overall feeling of this year so far? 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm
that's
looking at
fair.
my list, and I'm going to be real. I think that the start of the year has been slow overall, but I think it's hitting the ground running this summer. I think the numbers really picked up. I'm looking at my list, and I've had school and sickness and stuff, but I'm not at the level of where I have been normally. I'm at maybe 30 movies for the year. And I gotta say, most of them have been pretty unmemorable. They have been some good ones lately, but overall, I'd say the first half of the year is still not quite where we're used to.
Yeah, and similar on the opposite end of that, but in a similar note, I've seen 12 movies this year, and which I feel like is not too bad. That's 2 a month. I
This is
saw
more than the average for sure.
I saw most in theaters. The only well, Turning Red doesn't count. Okay, anyway, so I saw a lot in theaters. But it's been a tough year to really get things going. It seems like at points, but that being said, I think generally I've enjoyed the movies I've seen this year. I've not had very many bad experiences. I want to get to my bad experiences, but it'll wait.
Yeah, we'll get to those. For me, I think it's been all right. Honestly, I'm looking through my list and I'm not terribly upset by it. My top 3 to 4 movies are movies that I would enthusiastically say I really like a lot and that are very good. So I'm not too upset about how the first half of the year has gone. I will say we're still in a mode where it sometimes it feels like a lot of movies come out, but man, dudes, they're not. The release count this year, theater-wise, I was just checking Box Office Mojo, only 269 movies have been released so far this year, which is just a little that's close to half of what came out of the entirety of last year. Only 438 movies came out in 2021, which is quite low from the pre-pandemic 2019, just for measure. 910 movies came out.
Wow.
So we are still in a period of time where release-wise, we're not quite back to where we were. So I think that can make it feel like, I don't know. Sometimes it can feel like there's too much coming at once. Sometimes it can feel like nothing's coming out.
Yeah, and then Box Office Mojo is probably exclusively theater films.
I think so.
Not
So
even
yeah, there's a
counting
lot of
Netflix
streaming.
release too. So yeah, or not Netflix, but yeah, streaming releases.
So talking about, it sounds like our overall view of the year is kind of, I would say, middling to positive. No one really was fully negative. So what would you say, what do we think are some of our positive surprises? Has anything come out that you were like, wow, this was really a lot better than I thought it would be?
Andrew, what do you got? What's some of your pleasant surprises this year?
So, some of my pleasant surprises. I'm looking at my list right. I've only got 7 movies on this list, but I know I've seen.
Yeah.
One movie I would say that was a pleasant surprise was the new Scream.
Mm,
Hmm.
The new Scream.
Yeah.
that's a good
I like
answer.
the new Scream quite a bit. I really liked. I mean, obviously, this is probably going to be a popular one. The Batman. I was very
You were surprised by the Batman, huh?
Yeah.
And
Nice.
low expectations.
Well, the thing is that like Batman has just been so done over and over again,
True.
and I can't like since Batman has been so done over and over again, it's kind of hard for me to like say, oh, this will be good. This will be the best one they ever did. This is not the best one they ever did, but it's pretty damn close.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It is a very much different Batman movie
Mhm.
than what we've gotten so far in terms of live action releases. So yeah, I think that's a good one.
And I know that one's been controversial. I have some friends who have hated it. David, our graphic designer who did our logo, he said he walked out. He hated it, and truly does not like it. And so I know it's been controversial for a lot
That's
of people. But
that's.
he,
That's
I don't know that it's been controversial for a lot of people.
it's been
I think it's just a different type of Batman than what people are used to. And I think that because it's been so done, like you said, Andrew, and because you have a certain expectation, this is not a Batman that you are expecting. You go into what you're used to. It's not as actiony. It is very slow. It is very dark. Darker than the Dark Knight has been. And like those are dark. This isn't dark. And it's long. And if you're not used to that from a Batman and you're not getting as much action as you're used to, I could see how it would be off-putting.
Yeah,
I disagree, but I could see how someone could walk in with that expectation.
I've definitely seen some takes that they don't care for it being sort of early days Batman again, or that Batman and Bruce Wayne don't feel like they have like distinctly different portrayals. You know what I mean? That kind of when he's Batman all the time, that there is no there's no Bruce Wayne persona, and things like that. Personally, that's not really a surprise. I had high hopes for that, and it met my high hopes. That's still probably my favorite movie of the year. Absolutely loved it. I would say a surprise for me because I don't even remember when exactly we got the first trailer, but I feel like it wasn't too long for the movie came out. A big surprise for me was Chippendale Rescue Rangers. That was
Yeah.
a very fun movie. And prior to, I want to say it came out in, I feel like it came out in like May or April. And I feel like the first trailer wasn't even until March. So it was like completely out of nowhere. I had no idea what to expect. And then the movie itself was just so funny and crazy and different. It's just completely different. And it felt like a lot of people make the Roger Rabbit comparisons, and I get it. And it does feel like a lot of ways a spiritual successor to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, just because of the intermingling of the live action and the cartoons, and all the commentary about animation that they kind of have in there too.
Well, and even the
What a
different
blast!
styles of animation that they have. I mean, in Roger Rabbit, that was a big thing is there was, different types of animation that we've gone through such a renaissance of technology for animation that seeing, even the Rescue Rangers themselves look different. And like they made it meta and it was like, I went under like surgery and had this reconstructive, like 3D. That's really funny. And just how they handled it. And it was, I agree, an unexpected around surprise.
So that's my big surprise of the year.
Okay. Were there any others that you had that you
Uh,
wanna move on?
I
Someone
think
else?
from a surprising like a surprising
Oh yeah, hit me with that. Why not?
disappointing way, I would say probably for me, Jurassic World Dominion. Um, Still don't necessarily hate the movie. It's just I was disappointed by it. So that for me, I was ready. I was hyped going into that. Very excited. I hate the word hype. I was very excited to go into that movie, and it just it underwhelmed me in general. So yeah, so that was my surprising from sort of a disappointment standpoint. Anything like that for you guys, where there's some movies you were like, hey, I'm going to go try to see this lesser celebrated film, and then you go walk out and go, oh crap, it was bad.
uh,
You know, I saw a lot of people talk about Spiderhead on Netflix as a movie that people were really enjoying. And on paper, it seems like one that I would enjoy too. It's got um, Chris Hemsworth and Miles Teller, I believe. I'm trying to get the cast here. Miles Teller, Journey Smollett. And it was really under. I mean, it was a generic Netflix movie. It had some potential. There are moments where Chris Hemsworth is really good, but I always feel that about him. But I felt really underwhelmed by it as far as like a movie that had some it should have been better. Jurassic World, I mean, I think if you want to go back and listen to that episode, you can hear me rant about that. I'm not going to waste time. Um, but my biggest surprise so far this year has been the Black Phone. That movie, and I would say as a theme in general, the horror movies that I've seen this year overall have been incredible. And I expect the rest of the horror movies that I have seen to be very entertaining throughout this year. I think we're going to have a lot of strong horror based ones, but the Black Phone, um, man, it is set at the right time. If you're going to have a serial killer, it's in the mid 70s. Ethan Hawke is just absolutely terrifying. And the mask structure that he has throughout the whole thing, it's really well done. And the child actors, you could, if you're not expecting them to be fun, they're not like great performers, but they are so freaking good, like as what their characters are, and they deliver. And the experience for me was I was by myself in this movie, and it had that perfect level of creepy because it's a serial killer, creepy because of some of the twists. And I was by myself, and I was like, it was basically very excited because in a horror movie like that, if it's making you feel it, then you can express it. I was able to express it. So it really was a big another surprise.
That's cool. That's cool. I haven't got to see that yet, but
Highly recommend it.
I have become a low level Scott Derrickson fan.
He's good.
I think Sinister, which he did, and Sinister 2 are actually really good. And then obviously he is probably, I don't know if he's most famous for it, but Doctor Strange is obviously in his repertoire as well. So that's what introduced me to him. Then I go back, I rewatch Sinister and all this stuff.
Yeah.
He's really good. So I have high hopes for that one.
Before I go through mine, just to get us all back on the same page, Andrew, do you have a negative disappointment?
I am gonna have to agree with you when it comes to Jurassic World. I felt like that was a bastardization of the genre. I think that was like the lowest of the low. I mean, like Jurassic Park 3 is higher than Dominion. And that's where I sit with that. I just think it's just it's just not good. I hate to say that, but it's not good. And as much as I love Jurassic Park, I can't get behind this.
Yeah, it was really bad.
Yep. And I'll go ahead and say it. Didn't really care that much for Thor.
I can't touch on that.
Yeah, be careful because two of us haven't seen it yet, so don't go into detail. We purposely did not listen to your episode.
I'll leave that alone.
Okay, I'm very anxious to learn more though.
Okay.
I really enjoyed Thor. I was very entertained by it. So there's the end of the spectrum there.
Yeah.
But
I'm very excited because I haven't really heard a lot of people talking about it one way, shape, or form. So,
well, that's you're not on.
I try not to pay attention to social media though. So, man,
that's an envious position. I tell you. Anyway, Josh, what about you?
So I'll be honest. On the negative side, I'm looking at my list. And nothing's really sticking out to me because I feel like my expectations kind of match what I got out of the movies. Like, yeah, Jurassic World wasn't great, but like, I don't know that I thought it would be great. Continuing with the sequel trend, The Secrets of Dumbledore had some issues, but like, it still kind of hit with where I thought. So I don't know. Nothing's really been like, oh my God, this has been awful and I thought it would be good yet. So we'll see if that comes up later. In terms of positive surprises, though, I was pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed Elvis. I saw Elvis recently. Yes. I'd been seeing the trailer for a long time, and the trailer didn't really hook me because it felt very much like your standard kind of old formulaic musical biopic, and that just didn't intrigue me. And knowing what little I knew about Elvis going in, I was like, this story sounds like Walk the Line Part 2, and I just don't want to watch that. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to go see it, see what it's like. And I was very happy with the results. It's pretty, I can't speak for the accuracy of the movie. I'm sure there are parts of it that are made up. Like with all biopics, but it's not like Rocket Man, where it was really fantastical and obviously fictionalized in a lot of ways. but it was told in a more modern way that didn't feel like that old 90s, early aughts
It was
biopic. It incorporated modern music.
Mhm.
So it was just a lot, and some like cool visual effects were involved. It was just really fun, and I thought I wouldn't care for it, and I thought it would drag on because it has a very long runtime. But honestly, the runtime didn't really bother me too much because there's so much performance element that you just kind of bop along to the music, and then all of a sudden it's been 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Well,
Yeah. I wonder on I've always thought that what keeps the biopic genre alive is the component of it that is performance. It is like one of the scenarios for in cinema where it's like, hey, we're going to take an actor and we're going to make them perform someone that everybody knows and recognizes, and how well can they do it? That's always the conversation that comes out with those types of things. And is it's a very performative genre where if the impression, for lack of a better word, impression or evocation they're going for with the real life person isn't good, it usually gets bad reviews. And if it's really good, then everything else just needs to hang in line with it.
Yeah. I will say that I thought Austin Butler did a very good job as Elvis.
yeah.
And there, I won't speak on any story elements because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but there are moments, during performances where they have kind of intermingled it with real concert performances of Elvis. And you can see how they're almost indistinguishable at times because in the movie they recreate like iconic performances. And there are two specifically I can think of where they flip back and forth between archive footage, and it's very fun.
So I will say that so far Austin Butler's performance as Elvis Presley is my favorite performance of the year.
I just remembered a negative thing I could say, or a disappointment.
But
What the fuck is Tom Hanks doing in that movie?
Oh, really?
Tell me, Andrew, do you agree Tom Hanks is the weirdest, most out of place part of that movie?
kind
Well,
of
What is he doing?
He is. From what I've seen, he's really like taking what's the guy's name, Colonel Parker,
Yeah.
like pushing those like weird things about, like, if you've ever watched an interview with Colonel Parker, it is kind of that way, but he's really pushing it over the top.
So he is very much pushing it over the top. He has an accent that's indistinguishable. I don't know if that was intentional or not because there is some mystery with the Parker character, but his accent is weird. His makeup is distracting.
It-
Tom Hanks in particular,
Yeah,
not my favorite part of the movie, and I usually love Tom.
it's
So
it's
that's
like
the
I-
big one.
it's like the
I-
reverse. It's like the reverse effect that he
Yeah.
had going with Mr. Rogers, where he almost
Yeah.
didn't do anything to look like Mr. Rogers and didn't
Yeah.
really do that much to sound like Mr. Rogers. But like here, he goes, I'm going all the other direction: makeup, voice,
I will say
mannerisms.
he does do a very good villain in the movie. I don't think it's a spoiler to say he's fairly villainous at times. Um, he has some fantastical moments I'm just now remembering because the story is presented in a way where Colonel Parker is kind of the narrator,
Mhm.
but that only happens in like the beginning and like a little bit in the middle, and it's odd. It's odd,
it-
but
that,
I
that
liked
was
it.
so for the beginning part of Elvis, and I know I'm gonna get on with this, but the thing is that like the part of Elvis almost lost me for a second because I was thinking like, where the hell is this going? Is this a movie about Elvis or Colonel Tom
The
Parker?
beginning is a little weird. I agree.
Yeah, the beginning is strange. And yes, I agree. That makeup that Tom Hanks was wearing, he looked like Jabba the Hutt that was walking. Like he looked like a
Yeah.
walking Jabba the Hutt. That slime ringworm filth. And but like he I don't know. The Doja Cat song, I was like, this should not be
Were you pulled out by the Doja Cat? Because I liked it because it made it more modern and I didn't feel like it was some crotchety old movie.
kind of
But
a
you
little
like
bit.
crotchety old movies.
Yeah.
I
Um,
feel like
I,
I feel like you are more of a traditional type of I want my biopic to be a time period piece and like of that person, whereas Josh does not. Like, I
I,
want
I'm
it
a
to be modern possible.
I'm a purist, so
You are a purist.
You
yeah.
are a purist, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they have modern artists do remixes of Elvis songs, and there are
Yeah.
times where they are featured in the soundtrack. It's not like Doja Cat is in the movie performing. It's just part of the background. So there's that at
I,
least.
I'm a bit of a mix on that. Really, it all honestly depends on execution for me because I don't mind a bit of purism, but I love Rocket Man as an example where the movie,
Yeah.
like the genre of that movie is a biopic, yes, but it is like a music.
Yeah.
So like it incorporates Elton John's music in a musical format, which I think is a really smart way to do it, and the execution of that movie works so well. What else should we talk about? Should we just move on to well, you go ahead, Josh. What do you
Well,
think?
we've kind of talked about our surprises, good and bad. So, I mean, I feel like the next natural thing is to just kind of talk about what some of our favorites are that we haven't already mentioned.
I
Um,
feel like the consistent that I got, I put out a request on social media asking what people really enjoyed and the overwhelming favorite. And I feel like, David, I'm not confident if you've seen it, but everything, everywhere, all of the time, I feel like has genuinely been
All at once.
so many people's favorite movie because it was so unexpectedly weird. It was so unexpectedly good. And sitting here talking about it now. I love this movie, but I couldn't talk about it because it's not a movie I feel like I can talk about. I just want you to go see it. I just want you to go see it and experience it and be okay with the weirdness of it and just really enjoy it because it is a movie that is so good that I just don't know how to talk about it. It's just
Yeah,
good.
yeah, it's one of the ones I haven't seen yet. I have. I mean, it looks great, and I plan to watch it. It's on the list with the Northmen and um the Bad Guys and Ambulance and what was the other one I tried to watch the other night? It's on the list of movies that came out sort of in April and March that I missed for whatever reason or another. I Uncharted, that was one of them too that like missed me early on this year. I'm hoping to get around to them. What did you guys think? Is that like do you think that's one of the surprise hits of the year?
Yeah.
yes, it's currently my favorite movie of the year. It's my number
Same.
one.
I say
I
that.
honestly would be surprised if it gets bumped down by anything at this point. Um, it's just very fun and very thought provoking, and it's so funny because at this time where in like the blockbuster space, we're getting a lot of movies about this concept of the multiverse. The MCU is really digging into the multiverse. DC looks like they're about to do the multiverse if the Flash can ever come out. Um, but this movie also handles the multiverse, and honestly, the two comic book franchises could learn something from this movie because this is the best multiverse movie you'll probably see.
Andrew, I feel
Yeah.
like you can help us understand it a little better from your mindset of a movie. So, like, why don't you talk about it from a movie perspective?
Oh, me. Uh, sorry, I didn't hear my name.
Oh, sorry.
Uh, so what I have to say is that like everything, everywhere, all at once is like in genres. I believe it's it's one of the few movies. It's one of the few movies that takes all of these mixtures of genre, puts them together and something enjoyable. That's tough. And for something that also like I would say this, I mean, it's A24 movie, so you're going to get quality. But the other thing is that you have really, really cool special effects, which by the way, there was only 5 people on the special effects team. And I think that's neat. I think it's just
Yeah.
way cool. Uh, the writing is stellar. The writing is stellar. The direction is stellar. The performances are great. David, I won't tell you who's in it, but you will be surprised.
I know one person who's in it that is kind of a like an actor who hasn't been acting in a long time.
It's okay. I will leave you to it. I don't know the guy's name, but yeah. No, it's really. I would honestly say this is probably one of the best movies of this decade.
I
It's
don't
right
disagree.
there.
I feel like
fight that.
I feel like
Come on.
yeah, it is going to be interesting. I look forward to watching it.
Yeah.
You have to think deep with this one. I mean, I think that what this movie captures on that the comic book movies don't is that the comic book movies, while they explore the multiverse, they don't do it in a realistic, grounded way. And this one does. This one is a very like real people dealing
Well,
with actual real emotions rather than a supernatural version of a comic book thing, which is already
Well,
supernatural in this way. These
and
are grounded people going through their own emotions and everybody has a way to connect with this. Like, I wish I was this person. I wish I was this
yeah,
version. And this is doing that and connecting with
yeah.
the dots in
I,
a
I
realistic way.
I feel like the issue that the comic book movies face is that they have these pre-established characters that they need to use, whereas everywhere doesn't. Like, there's no baggage coming in. There's no storyline to pay off from some previous thing. There's no setup that needed to be done. It can just, in that sense, what I would hope is that this movie is to the next layer of comic book films, as kind of The Matrix was to the superhero blockbuster genre. The Matrix was both a very thought provoking film and a blockbuster, but really, when you look at like the core elements of it, that is a superhero movie. Like, it is it's a hero's journey from beginning to end. And what movies came after that was the early wave of Spider-Man and X-Men and all of those, and they are all trying to capture that same feeling that the Matrix had. Hopefully, we can get there, but yeah, like, you're not going to get a fun multiverse movie out of DC right now because they're trying to use it to fix their franchise, and Marvel's using it as sort of like a storytelling device to set up like a big event film. Whereas this has nothing to set up. It has nothing to it's not paying off anything else, and it's not setting anything up. So I mean, it can exist by itself in its own unique way. And that, that's the beauty of not being a franchise film. You know, it's one of the reasons Knives Out was really popular. It's one of it, I'm trying to think of another movie that sort of stands alone that was really popular recently. But any of these A24 films, you know.
Yep, yep, yep. And this one has had quite a good box office run for the
Yeah.
studio. It's become A24's highest grossing film. So
Where they
big hit for them. We're kind of winding down now. We've talked about most of my favorites already. The only other one I will mention is another one that we've already covered, so you can find it at somanysequels.com, is Top Gun Maverick, which is the most fun I've had in the movies this year.
Yeah, that was
just
kind of
pure fun
unexpected for me. Yeah.
Huh?
That was a little unexpected for me. Not tremendous.
Yeah, I think a little too. Yeah, I had high hopes, but I don't know that I expected them to nail it quite like they did. So, yay.
No. And yeah, I mean, there's almost nothing more you can say. We did do a full review of it.
Yeah, go check it out.
I will say it is, to my surprise, the number one movie of the year at the box office. It's brought in $617 million in the United States. I think 1.2 billion worldwide.
It is, yeah.
You got Doctor Strange at number 2. You got the Batman at number 3. Jurassic World 4, and the gentleman's movie Minions: The Rise of Gru is sitting at number 5. Although that might have a tight race here with Thor: Love and Thunder as we go, because Thor: Love and Thunder is only 3 million behind it at this point. This is all domestic numbers, but yeah. So I mean, it's the box office. I think is back. We've had 10 movies make over $100 million this year. We've had several movies open to over 100 million. I'll say 6 movies open to more than 100 million. Things are looking better. Josh, I think you're looking at that number too over on Box Office Mojo. Compared to 2021, 2022 is just $60 million behind 2021 for the whole year of 2021. So by the
Good
mid-year,
signs.
we are almost dead even with all of last year. So
The
things
movies are
looking good.
crawling back.
They are. And we got a couple more here to finish out the box office season. I'm looking forward to Nope. I'm looking forward to
Yeah, I was gonna ask everyone to kind of, if you just name one, maybe two movies left in the year that you're still looking forward to, just because we're low on time.
I'll go with Nope. What about you, Garrett?
Amsterdam.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Amsterdam, and if it does come out this year, Killers of the Flower Moon.
There you go.
Sure, that's a good pick. I'm really looking forward to. I was trying not to say one you guys have already said, but I'm really looking forward to Nope.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
You know what else?
Train.
I am looking forward to Bullet Train, but
Yes. Brad Pitt Renaissance, baby.
yeah,
Make it happen.
stay tuned, fans. There may be some pit action happening soon.
With the Pitt.
Oh, I was gonna say one more. Oh, I'm looking forward to Halloween Ends. I'm looking forward to how
Oh yeah.
how they wrap up this new Halloween trilogy. I'm excited for.
Totally forgot about that.
Right? But that's it for me. It's not it. There's other movies, but
There's so many. I think the second half of this year is going to be really good. And I really do think that we're going to be surprised by how many good horror movies are coming out.
I hope so.
At least scary, because when I went to see The Black Phone, I saw a lot of previews for a lot of scary movies. And I was like, dang, we are really
Yeah.
in a horror renaissance right now. I'm
and
excited for a lot of them coming out.
so there's that element. If you look at December and like the end of November through December is like stacked movies, and I'm not necessarily saying that I'm looking forward to all of them, but you look at that,
right.
you look at that 6-week period this holiday, they crammed in a ton of movies for people.
I am personally not excited for Avatar 2, but the entire movie industry will have its eyes on it.
Oh yeah. People will be watching to see how it does. Similarly, I'm not that excited about Black Adam, but that's coming out. Then you've got another Shazam movie on top of that, which is like
Black Panther 2 comes
Black
out.
Panther.
There's
It's
lot
going to
of
be a
different-
stacked 6 weeks to end the year,
We'll have to figure out how to manage December with our normal Christmas movie routine.
right? All
Double
of a sudden,
time.
Avatar is a Christmas movie.
Hey, if they can put a Christmas scene in there, I'll take it.
Listen, the only present that is if it goes away. And I don't think it's gonna have any kind. I don't think it's gonna have the lasting power because of all of the movies surrounding it. Because I think people are sick of it. I hope. I think
yeah.
it's gonna be people are gonna go
It's gonna
see
be
it.
super interesting.
But I think it's gonna have more competition because people are more excited about superhero movies, and so I think people will be going to see Black Panther and Shazam and Black Adam and all of those in addition to it. I think it's gonna be a struggle.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird, that many big blockbuster movies in such a short amount of time. It will be like, who is gonna reign supreme with all these options? It's just not usually the case, you know. Usually there's a handful of big movies around Christmas time, and then there's usually some counter programming for kids and stuff. But this is like summer part 2 in December,
Yeah.
so it'll be fun. But I guess that's it. I think we covered pretty much everything for our mid-year review.
Yeah.
So be sure to go check out somanysequels.com, where you can see a whole list of our previous episodes. We've done full reviews of most of the movies we talked about today. So if you have any other thoughts on those, go check those out and follow us online. We're on all the social media platforms. I believe there are links to those at somanysequels.com as well. And of course, Patreon. Go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/somanysequels, and give us a little money.
Give us some money, join our Discord, have some conversations about
Yeah, we want your
Definitely.
money. But we'll see you guys next time.